Welcome to Black Men Speak. And I know you're excited or probably confused because we just had a show last week, and normally it's every other week. But we're here tonight. And first of all, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I hope you're having you had a great day. I know the weather here in New Jersey has been a little wet, especially in the afternoon. But hopefully, you're just here. You're going to listen to our show tonight. And then we have a very great show. We're going to be talking about the cannabis industry. As you know, we were supposed to do this a couple of weeks ago, but we had some conflicts with our guest. But I'm excited because we have a local guest here from Essex County area. So we're really excited. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I'll bring him up in a few minutes. But I really wanted to talk about, as you know, on November 3rd, 2020, our voters approved the use of cannabis for recreational use. And so what that means is individuals will be allowed to consume up to an ounce of cannabis, and that might change, 16 ounces of infused solid products or 72 ounces in liquid form. So New Jersey is smiling about this because based on New Frontier data, sales is expected to top $1 billion in revenue by the year 2023 and $12 billion by the year 2025. But the question and reason why we're going to be talking about it tonight is, will people of color be able to take advantage of this budding industry? And no pun intended. On average, and this was a study that came out in 2017, less than 4.3% of the people of color were involved in ownership or a stakeholder level. So I know New Jersey kind of has proposed a mandatory bill, that will allow 25% of the licenses to go to people of color. But a couple of questions that we want to talk about tonight. Will that be enough? One, and two, what's going to happen to the black market? How is that going to work? As you know, if anyone has heard the New Jersey Weed Man, so he's kind of what you call the guru of the cannabis industry, but he operates on the black market, and so what's going to happen to his business? I know he's gotten a lot of buzz lately. He's got some press. I know he's even going to be opening in Miami. And but all the while, he might not be able to get a license here in the state because of his record for cannabis in the past. But just wanted to talk about that. But we have a great guest on tonight. He's going to break it down a little bit for us. He's going to talk about his journey in the cannabis industry. So we have Tiyahnn Bryant. No, I didn't say that right. Tiyahnn Bryant. He'll correct me, but he's the CEO of Roll Up Life, and that's a CBD delivery service. And then hopefully later on we'll have the mayor of Orange, Dwayne Warren, because he's the chair of the Urban Mayors Cannabis Committee. And so I just really wanted to have him on to break down some of the what are some of the legal things that people of color will need to know if they're going to join this industry. So I'm going to bring up, and it's Tiyahnn?
Tiyahnn, yes.
Tiyahnn, all right, got it right. Tiyahnn. So how you doing?
I'm good. Happy Mother's Day to your mom, of course. But just trying to continue working to move forward, trying to build something here in Jersey that's long lasting.
That's great. So I know you're the CEO of Roll Up Life. So for our listeners today, break that down for us. What is that? What kind of business is it?
So what Roll Up Life is essentially is a logistics technology company that was established to bridge the gap between point A and point Z. So what we're trying to do And what we're currently doing is distributing CBD in between dispensaries, local CBD shops, and we're trying to expand that into the THC market and operate as that Amazon S figure, where we complete orders on the back end technologically for these manufacturers, cultivators, dispensaries, and we allow for consumers to come to a technology platform, the Roll Up app, to purchase and consume cannabis, and where we fit in this whole situation, which is making sure everything gets to where it has to go safely and securely.
Oh, that's great. And so, and we'll get to a little bit more of the details a little later, but what made you decide that you wanted to open this business and get started? Um,
First, like the idea started way back in like 2016. I went to school in Idaho, so California, Washington, and Oregon were all legal businesses, states already. So there was at least some type of medical marijuana market there, but they had already went recreational by this time. By the time I graduated in 2016, so as you're starting to see this market expand and to boom, New Jersey gets hit with the Jake Honig law, which allows for medical marijuana here at home, and we got the original 6 ATCs from that. But as you started to expand and learn more about the industry, as I took the deeper dive into it, um, like I said early on, New Jersey only had 6 dispensaries, and these were they're ATCs, so they're all in one at the time, and the distance between the average customer and the local dispensary was just like 90 minutes, which was insane. And just understanding how fast paced things move in the state of New Jersey. Recreational legalization wasn't far behind when we started this. So if you could just figure out and identify that problem like we did with the logistics issue here in the state, it was just a no brainer to take a deeper look into it and try to build a business around that problem.
okay. And so for ATC, break that down for people that may not know. What's ATC?
Yeah, so ATC stands for Alternative Treatment Center or a dispensary.
Okay.
So those are places like Columbia Care, um, the Apothecarium, um, Rise Dispensary out in Patterson. Those are what you call ATCs or Alternative Treatment Centers.
Okay.
It's just a legal name for dispensaries.
Right. And so, and what did you basically have to do in order to access those alternative treatment centers? Did you have to get like a prescription, or how did that work?
Okay, so for the medical marijuana market, which is what's currently operating right now, we aren't delivering in between the operating and medical marijuana licenses. Only patients are allowed to go within there. So just to get within the the legal patient market, you visit a doctor. They'll screen you. The doctor I preferably could use, and he'll probably appreciate the shout out, but is the alternative weed therapy up in West Orange, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Wow, who knew that was there? Okay.
Up in West Orange, New Jersey. So you would visit a place like that, um, and they'll just walk you through the entire process. It costs about $250 for your first visit. If you are approved, you get your money back. If you are approved, you come in and do a second visit where it's about $125 for the second visit, and then you'll be a patient. And it should be like it was like a really quick and easy process. Didn't take no longer than a week from seeing the doctor to being approved into the program.
And did you have to? So you just went to get information, or just were considered a patient?
You talk about when what are you asking?
Well, I mean, when to get that, to hear the information, you just went there to get information from him to see how to take it, be a patient. I mean, you're not currently a patient. That's what I was asking.
I am currently a medical marijuana patient. Like,
Oh, okay.
yes, that's
So, that's why I wanted to know. So
okay.
my questions were, because I wanted to ask her, what were some of the, what are some of the questions they asked of you in order to be a patient?
All right, yes, all right. That's why I just make sure to
Yeah,
get. Yeah, I apologize.
no
But
problem.
also, the first thing they ask you if you have any previous ailments, any lingering injuries. I apologize. Any previous ailments, any lingering injuries. Um, what you do. Um, they'll ask you if you have any like anxiety issues and stuff like that. Um, and the doctor just give you essentially a nice screening. The questions are really easy going. It's just like your typical doctor visit. Um, they take your height, weight, you take a selfie picture for your ID badge. But it really isn't this like excruciating process that people really think it is. It's really quick and easy. Like it's really not that hard. And there are a lot of approved instances for a patient to be approved for medical marijuana. You don't just have to have a broken foot or something like that. Anxiety is on that list, you know. So stress. You need to relax. Like these are all reasons for medical marijuana to be granted. You can't sleep at night. There's strains of cannabis for that. So it's really a quick and easy process for you to just move forward through that. And Dr. William Steck is who is my medical care provider. Is just a really great doctor. So if you could give the alternative weed therapy a try, that's something I recommend. I give them 5 stars for how to walk you through the process. Even if you didn't know anything about that process beforehand, you'll leave there really knowledgeable about what's going on.
Okay. So then thank you for that. So then you decided to move on and start this business. And so when did the business open, and what have been your successes and what have been the challenges so far?
So we officially opened up, I believe 2019 is when everything was incorporated. 2020 we got active and open. Our website was finally up and operational. Some of the key challenges for what we were doing is, at first is getting that initial funding together. But at a point, you're just gonna have to really just put your head down and just scrape up what you have and just try to build off of that. And so we started really small. We didn't try to bite off more than what we could chew. A lot of it was networking, meeting people to be placed in the right position, or meeting people to be placed with someone that you need, such as bankers, lawyers, clients, people, vendors. So everything that you started to need, you got from networking. And the hardest part honestly is when we were like building towards trying to take this thing bigger than just your local mom and pop, you know what I mean? So trying to get funding for the bigger vision was one of the bigger issues that we had here at Roll Up Life. But you got to dig deep, put your big boy pants on, and figure
Mhm.
it out, because it's going to be rather hard because it's the infancy of the industry, and it's pretty capital intensive. Even for the smaller licenses, it can run you a pretty penny. So definitely funding was some of the hardest things that we had to go through.
So
And
and I know you're CBD, is that correct, as opposed to the recreational
correct.
cannabis? So what was how much capital did you have to bring up upfront before you could actually start?
So what prior to the funding, like the funding isn't even for the CBD portion of it. It's for all the everything that we have to do with the cannabis side of it. Uh,
Okay.
so completely ignore that, right? The startup fund for actually becoming a legitimate player in the legalized marijuana market. The startup cost for just what we were trying to do with CBD, this is what we actually pulled out of our pockets to start up in the beginning. But just for an example, the website costs $10,000. Um, Getting products from vendors that could run you another 4 or 5 grand just to have a little decent sized inventory. And then you know your typical GoDaddy stuff. So that's like buying your domain, buying your LLC or your LTD. We're a corporation, so we're LTD, but incorporating yourself. So the initial startup for what we did so far out of our pocket was probably like 30 grand.
Oh, okay. And then there's the licensing that you have
Yeah, and
to get just to be able to do the business.
right. So that's what I said. Forget just that's just the CBD side. The startup for the THC, we had to get up about $500,000 to execute what we're trying to do here.
Oh wow.
And
Wow,
and,
that's a lot.
and that's just the first round of a next round that's going to be around $2.5 million. So there's definitely, that's what I'm saying. This is definitely a capital intensive game trying to get involved in the legal cannabis touching industry.
Well, that's and I'm glad you mentioned that because that means it's folks are going to really have to come up with some, I don't know, if cake, if that's what you want to call it, just to get started. So what do you think is going to be, just from your point of view, because I know you're young, much younger than I am. So what is going to be the biggest challenge for Black males or Black that are looking to get in the industry?
Um, Literally, probably what I just said, because um, ideas are everywhere when it comes to the cannabis industry. Um, what I'm doing isn't new. It's the local, the weed man, like essentially. So ideas aren't new. It's just about refining your idea and making it a real life thing. So everything, the work that comes into it. A lot of people say that they want to do something, but um, they tend to just have it as an idea and not really want to follow through on things. So at first, it's going to take someone that's really, really, really dedicated and really, really, really motivated. And then the next prior to, and I'm just trying to give you the emotional spill before we
Mhm.
get into the details of like numbers and stuff. But prior to that, like you're gonna have to be willing enough to educate yourself on what you're really trying to do and sell here. Then after that, you're gonna have to be somebody that's pretty even killed. There's gonna be some really good days, and there's gonna be some really bad days, and you just gotta be able to weather the storm and get through everything. And lastly, I would say to enjoy the moment because it's happening fast. A lot of things are going to come your way when you're doing good and you have something that's going great for yourself. You have a good idea and a good team behind yourself. So there'll be a lot of things coming your way. Enjoy the moment, but don't get too ahead of yourself. But definitely make sure that you appreciate what you're working towards because it's a roller coaster ride. And um after the mental toll, you have to be ready to build relationships, right? Because everything in this industry is going to come from you having some type of relationship. So whether you're a cultivator, you're going to have to be able to find distributors and dispensaries that want to carry your product, right? They got to be able to identify your brand. Um, you're going to have to politic. Um, is literally on the application that you need a letter from your city to be approved to operate a cannabis business within their borders. So you're gonna literally have to politic. I don't count that as networking, even though it's a sort of type of networking. But the reason I don't count this as networking is because I consider networking more on the operational end. This is literally something that doesn't cost a dollar, in theory, where you really just have to go out and meet your local politicians and just explain to them how you're going to benefit their city, how you're going to benefit the people within their borders, how you connect and resonate with the people. So that's why we host a lot of cannabis and communities to try to give back and educate the community on what's actually going on here in the state of New Jersey. So politicking is definitely the second thing you're gonna have to do. Um, Lastly, in terms of getting this thing together, like I said, it's the one that we're just going to reiterate. Got to find someone to put this back into it, right? It's going to cost a couple dollars. The application itself, the last application for New Jersey was $20,000 itself. So,
Mm.
and that's not to mention the application writers, the things that you need in place to have on your application, such as you might need a building, depending on what you're doing. You got to have some type of partnerships in place, some type of city agreements in place. So, um, but the funding is literally a key divergent here. But that's literally um the biggest hurdle for most people. Honestly, is going to be getting the money together.
Okay. And so you mentioned networking. So, and I think if I, and I'm sure you'll correct me, but you were considered the first people of color to have a business in the cannabis industry. Is that right? Did I read that right? Or
Absolutely not. The first cannabis dispensary owner, or the youngest one, um, I think was Hope Wisen, and then or
I mean, in
after.
the state. I'm sorry, in the state. Let me just be clear.
Oh, I think we were the first uh business of color to try to operate in the cannabis industry. I believe so. Like,
Okay. Okay. So that yeah, and so and
there's a few, so there's a few.
there's a few now. Okay, but that then leads to my question then. What was because you talked about networking. So what were some of the who kind of took you under your wing? Who helped you navigate through this kind of minefield of this kind of new industry?
Um, th- there's quite a few people that helped me get to where we are at right now. The first thing I did was join M4MM, which I'm now the New Jersey chapter vice president of. But that stands for Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I suggest anyone sign up for that. I'm actually really hands on in that right now. So, especially for localized, we get in depth about everything we're talking about here today, but we walk you through it detail by detail how to actually do it. So, that was something that helped me get to understanding at least the cannabis industry in a nutshell. Um, from there, I met Leo Bridgewater, and Roz McCarthy. Leo Bridgewater is one of the bigger figures in the cannabis industry in the state of New Jersey right now. Um, he introduced me to New Jersey Cannabis Insiders, where I met Michael McClaney, who's going to be one of our lawyers, our attorneys. Um, I met Kwame, who's also a very talented African American attorney. I met Amanda Terpstra, who was our first CBD dispensary to sign up, and very, very God willing, if we both get our licenses, she'll be one of our first cannabis partners as well. I met Bobby Paley, who introduced us to a national stage, and there's just Ed Tobias. I'd have been upset if I missed Ed Tobias. He's a lawyer that took me to New York just to get information on what's going on in the cannabis industry because he bought into what I was really trying to do. So a lot of people just really bought into the idea of roll up life very early on, and it's been helping me trying to see it through.
Oh, well, that's great. So it sounds like you really had a lot of people that were looking out for you and trying to really support you and help you navigate this business. And that's really important because you really want to try to align yourself with the right people in order to make sure there's no pitfalls, but if there are, they'll be able to pick you up and guide you in the right direction. So that's great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So since you're a lot more in depth than I knew, which is great. What are the types of business licenses that, if someone wanted to get into the business, that they could acquire?
All right, so here in the state of New Jersey, we have six.
Okay.
Um, there's cultivating, there's manufacturing, there is wholesale, there's distribution, there's retail, and there's delivery.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a lot. And so, from what would probably be the lowest point of entry for someone that doesn't
They
have
tend,
a
they tend to say the lowest hanging fruit is delivery.
delivery? Okay. So it's kind of like you'd be the Uber for cannabis, so to speak. Okay.
And
And
that's
because you're just really you're just taking it from the, I would assume you're taking it from the retail or the manufacturers and just delivering it out to customers.
you're taking it from so if you get a classic delivery to consumer, you won't be allowed to do any business to business transactions.
Oh, what's that? Repeat that again. Sorry.
If you get a class 6 delivery license,
Okay.
you will be able to do from retail to consumer. You won't be able to do any business to business transactions.
Oh, I see. Just retail to consumer only. Okay. And so so then that would be tough, I guess, if for a retail, yeah, that's almost like a business you don't want to. Could a retail establishment also have that same delivery service, and would that be an extra license that they would have to acquire?
I'm really firmly on the state making sure that they wouldn't, because that's a problem. That's definitely something to address. But I'm pretty sure the state is having the dispensaries option that off to the class 6 services, because what's the point of the class 6 service if the dispensaries get to just opt out? You know what I'm saying?
I see. Okay, that makes sense. And so so I'd love to hear a little bit more about, you know, I guess how are I guess your friends and the people in your local community, how have they taken to you doing this business?
Um, Surprisingly, East Orange just happened to be very receptive to us.
Okay. Were you surprised?
I didn't know what to think because we have a demographic of such older people,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but I guess Precious and I have such a great history with the city. We grew up in our city's recreation department. We both went to the local high school here where we graduated top of our class. We've always been involved in the city's extracurricular activities, reading Black history poems in middle school to doing summer camps at basketball. You know, so Precious and I have always just grown through the city. So the people that are in city politics now were the people who were like our coaches, and my karate teacher is the mayor. Like
Right. Okay.
like it's like that type of close knit environment here in East Orange where everyone really kind of knows everyone. It's not a big city by any means. It's not small. Granted, it's like 70,000 people who live here, but it's not a big city by any means. It's walkable end to end. So you know, it's a very close knit. So I didn't know how the people would respond because you knew people would hear about it, and traction was slow because in the beginning of it just sounded too unbelievable. Like I said, I've been working on this since like 2016. So in the beginning, it just sounded like far fetched. Like, you're doing what? Nah, man, you just got a degree. Like, get out of here with that. But as you start to see the work that I was starting to put in, and Precious herself is an example of this. I told Precious the day I thought of this to join the team, and she told me, no, I'm going to Columbia. You know what I'm saying? So now she just graduated Columbia, and here she is the COO. So look how life goes, right? You know.
Right.
So
Yeah. Shout out to Precious. I hope you're watching tonight. Precious was one of my students when I worked at East Orange for a bit, doing, I know that's a whole nother story, but
okay.
I was glad to, see that she was, doing this business and introduced me to you. You didn't introduce me. I kind of just saw the website and was glad that I was able to interview you today. So,
No problem.
and so I know you went to school in Idaho. So why Idaho?
Um,
And
I was
and what
chasing
are
football. I was chasing football, so I went to
chasing
Boise.
football? Okay.
Yeah, so I went to Boise State, where unfortunately I didn't get the chance to actually play. So I was just in Idaho trying to figure my life out for a while, you know. And
Okay.
fortunately, I was able
And what did you study when you were there?
political science.
Oh, political science. Okay. So So this is kind of up your alley, you know, doing the politicking. So which is probably a very important thing to do.
It honestly, if you really think about it, like that's why I love the questions that you asked today, because that's essentially why I tried my hardest to get involved in the industry, just because I noticed the lack of black faces. And there's a ton of time where I'm the only black person in the room sometimes, you know. So it all feels like you're representing a whole community of people, not just the ones that you know, but like everybody that looks like you, everybody with skin that mirrors yours. So that's why you buckle down even when it gets hard, because if it's worth it, it'll come right at the right moment, no matter what's going on with you. You'll figure it out. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a roller coaster ride, definitely. But there's just not enough of us here. So whatever you gotta do to break the wall down, you gotta just deal with it. It be like that sometimes.
Right. And so that's interesting. Didn't realize. Well, I knew you guys were new in the industry. So what was that point? I don't know if you can remember where you felt that I really belong. I'm going to make my mark in this industry.
Um, I felt like I belong since I started this, but the day I realized, like, holy crap, roll up life is a thing, is when I opened up the Star Ledger and saw myself. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's when I was like, yo, we're on the right path. We're doing the right thing. We just gotta keep going. Can't get, like I said, can't get too big headed, because we're seeing this. We gotta make sure we can turn it into Forbes next, or High Times or stuff like that, right? So you just gotta continue on with your vision. But it was definitely a feel good moment for me to know that I was just like on the right path.
Right. And I'm sure it was different. I'm sure you were probably in the paper for football
I was,
in the past. And
I
so
was
this was a different kind of being in the paper.
It really was. It was something merit based instead of athletic based for once, right? So
Yeah.
it was something that was completely on off of my mind, my brain. Like if I didn't think of this, none of us is on the paper that day. So it really, really, really felt good, because it's just like look at what we're trying to do here, and we're starting to get the state of New Jersey's attention. There's no way we can't just continue to thrive if we just keep our head down and do the work.
Okay. Oh, well. And I know you've been working hard. So where do you see your business going in about, let's just say 5 years? And what are some things that you want to accomplish by starting this business, or, by operating this business?
In 5 years, I want to be able to say that we're a multi-state operator. Um, some of the things that I want to accomplish is to becoming again that bridge, that barrier breaker for people that look like us. I want to start a roll up life fund to fund applicants in the future to break into the industry. Um, I want to continue to try to partner up with universities to bring education to the students on an official level. Um, I want to continue to advocate for the legalization of cannabis in the places that it's not legal. But I also want to continue to advocate for the local laws to become better, for the things that the CRC may have missed, for the things that the state of New Jersey may have missed, right? So we while we have this, there's still a decent fight for us left. Um, and I just want to continue to become the man that I know I'm supposed to be. So that's all in my 5 year wrap up.
Okay. I like that list. I like that list. Very forward thinking. And the fact that you're trying to lift others up to come along with you, it's a very great endeavor. I applaud you for that.
Appreciate it.
And so, oh, I knew it was a question I wanted to ask you. So you're saying your clientele are much older.
Um,
And
yes and no. So
yes and no. Okay.
in the CBD space, absolutely. people my age don't care about CBD. We're just gonna call a spade, right? So everyone around my age bracket wants the psychedelic effects, and who blames them, right? That's what you're smoking for. You're not smoking to just for your health of it, just to sit there and smoke. But you have the people who are trying to wean off cigarettes and stuff like that, and that just tends to be like the older crowd, or
Okay.
people who have arthritis and want to take a CBD tincture here and there. That just tends to be the older crowd, or of people of different demographics. Now, I'm not saying young people don't buy CBD, because I have a friend. Her name is Maz. She's the owner of Brown Box over in Orange, New Jersey, where they do CBD, and she has a actual CBD shop dispensary, and
Oh, nice.
they do really well for themselves. She's building a fantastic woman-owned, black-owned brand. I absolutely applaud her for what she's doing over there. She's lives around the corner from me. I hope she gets to see this. I'll probably share this point right here. But what they're doing at Brown Box, especially right now, what's going in Orange, where how Orange was trying, their city council was trying to ban the ordinance for cannabis. So the fight that she put on, and the people that she gathered around her, and the rally cry that she did should just show you how diligent and effective that proper branding can be. So but CBD, in a nutshell, is just not cannabis, right? Everyone's like, especially with cannabis being legal now, people are just itching for that first recreational taste, and like we just want to be ready for that.
So I'm glad you mentioned this whole psychedelic effect, because not that I expected to go here with this question, because that's another but issue. But are young people, are they delving in that because they just want the feeling, or are they in pain and they're turning to this to kind of cure that pain, or at least take it away temporarily?
It's we're gonna call it down the middle, because um it's recreational now, so I don't need a reason to use it besides I want to use it, right?
Hmm.
We gotta accept that for what it is, right? So people may have their different feelings on cannabis, regardless of how one may feel. A lot of people use cannabis, so, and sometimes it's just to relax. Maybe it might be to get away. You might have had a long day. But there are the people who are medical patients, right? Those are the people who use it for pain. Those are the people who went the extra mile to get the card. So the people who just want to use it recreational just because they enjoy it, they're allowed to now. You can't really say it's one way or the other, when if you need a medical, you can go get a medical, but now you don't have to. So it's breaking it down like that,
Hmm.
psychedelic effect or not. That's people want to smoke. That's the end of the story, right?
Right, right, right. I hear you. I hear you. Well, this has been great. I'm glad you've broken it down for us, and I really uh, wish you much success in this, because one, being new, or being young and taking the risk, and doing the things that you needed to do to make sure you do it the right way, it is really awesome, and I really applaud you for that. And so, but before we go, like I ask all of my guests, there's a question, and especially being young, I'd like to hear your take on it. But what's on your mind as a Black man?
Oh man, wow, that's a beautiful question. What's on my mind as a Black man? On a daily day basis, honestly, it's if I'm coming back in the house that day, and it's crazy that's how you think, but on a day to day basis, it's always, am I gonna make it home? Um, it's always, how can I provide and become the man that I want to be? Um, it's always, how do I strengthen my community? Um, it's always, how do I learn more to become a better person? a better individual, a better contributor to the planet that we live on. Um, how do I give back to the people who don't have it? Every day I'm living in East Orange, you see people in very unfortunate situations. And it's just for me as a black man is how do I do my part? Let's just say that's the end game for me right there. How do I do my part?
Well, that's great. And I think you are doing your part already. You have a legitimate business that I think you're going to, if you've aligned yourself with the right people, and if things start to break your way, you will be doing your part. And I applaud you for that.
Thank
And so yeah, if you hold on, and we'll talk soon as I close out.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Well, there you go. Tiyahnn Bryant. Um, he's a young man that's going to be doing great things with his business Roll Up Life with his partner Precious, and check him out. He has a website. The name of the business is Roll Up Life. So if you don't feel like traveling anywhere to get your CBD and hopefully cannabis, once he meets the necessary requirements, you'll be able to call him up and he'll get the business for you. So I just want to say thank you for being on tonight. If you didn't catch it, be sure to catch the podcast, Black Men Speak podcast, from wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Audible, and we look forward to seeing you in the next couple of weeks. I'm off because it's still Mother's Day, and the kids and I are going to take the wife out for a nice dinner, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good night.